Hello folks, welcome back again to another Atari 2600 collection video. This video is going to cover games made by Imagic, Mattel Electronics or the M Network, and Coleco. Two of those three companies were competitors to Atari, at least with their own game systems. Imagic was not. I'm going to start with them because I think they're going to be the best of this bunch here. A lot of great original games that Imagic did that are still widely regarded as some of the best games on the Atari 2600, starting with this one, Atlantis. And this is, it is a very fun game. No, this is definitely not Atlantis 2. I couldn't get that lucky, but I actually do love playing Atlantis. I actually find it to be better than the Intellivision version, even though the Intellivision version is more advanced, I guess. Still like the simplistic nature of this. Cosmic Arc, also a very, very fun game. What came first, Phoenix or Demon Attack? Both very similar to each other. I prefer Demon Attack only very slightly to Phoenix, but, still a very good game. Freezy Break. We got Dragonfire from Imagic. I have this on the Intellivision as well. I do like the Intellivision version slightly better than this one. For that. A game that my 3-year-old daughter Zoe absolutely adores because she's into fire trucks right now. Firefighter. It's an okay game, but you can't go wrong with fire trucks with a 3-year-old. Laser Gates. This is a game I haven't really played. I gotta play that one. Here's one that surprised me, Moonsweeper, and I don't hear a lot of people talk about this, but this, it's got an outer space thing, and you go to a planet, and when you go down into the planet, it almost turns into like a 3D shooter type of deal. Like, you're going across the planet, and there's actually textures coming at you, and it is amazing what the programmers at Imagic was able to do with this game. If you have an Atari and you have this game, you haven't played it in a while, play this game. I need to give this game a proper review because Moonsweeper is one of the best games on the system that people don't really talk about. No Escape is not one of the best games on the system. It's okay, but Riddle of the Sphinx, not a big. There's one with that. Shooting Gallery, which is kind of like a shooting gallery at a fair or something. Even the box art said that this was for younger kids, so, It's simplistic, but actually I do have some fun with that. Star Voyager. I swear, Atari was just the king of having space games. The Atari 2600 as a whole, that is. And then Trick Shot, which is a billiards type of a game. No. If I'm going to play any billiards game, it'll be Real Pool on the PlayStation 2. Okay, now we move on to Mattel Electronics, which they had put out the Mattel Intellivision, of course, back in 1979 with cartridges. Excuse my cartridges that look like this. This is the top one. It's Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. Nothing special there from them. So they wanted to get into publishing games for the Atari 2600, and instead of coming up with a whole new cartridge design, because this is thinner than what would go into an Atari, of course. Whereas, let's show the Imagic game Trick Shot. You get more of the pin connectors, but the actual space is further out. So to combat that problem, what Mattel did is they took connectors like that, and they just put them on Intellivision carts. Look at that. They're the same size as the Intellivision carts on this bottom part here. So, and then they did the same type of end labeling. The first game here is Adventures of Tron, which is a very fun game. But yeah, just look. So, Mattel definitely took a very cost-effective route. They were able to use their same Intellivision cartridges and just turn them into Atari games, basically. Of course, they had to be reprogrammed for Atari, too, but, So, yeah, as I said, Adventures of Tron's the first one there. Makes them a bitch to stack up, though, I'll tell you that. Now, for the purposes of this, I do have two label variations that were from the later INTV Corp, which was the successor, basically, to Mattel Electronics. A lot of the programmers from Mattel formed their own company, bought the rights to Intellivision, let the Intellivision continue till about 1990. They also re-released games for the 2600 with these white labels here. So there's Air Raiders, but both of the games I have originally came out during Mattel's tenure, so I'll show them here. Astro Blast, which is basically the Atari equivalent to Astro Smash. Basically the same game. Burger Time, which I do find more fun on the Intellivision, but really, Burger Time I'll play on my Data East Arcade Classics on the Wii anyways. The arcade version, of course, is the best. Dark Cavern, which is actually not bad. It's kind of like Night Stalker. I think it's their version of Night Stalker. Frogs and Flies, which is available on the Intellivision as well. Basically, or it's called Frog Bog on the Intellivision. Basically, you're a frog and you jump up and you try to eat flies. It's a two-player game, so definitely you want to play with someone else. International Soccer. I'm not a soccer fan, but it's a game for the collection. Lock and Chase, which is a kind of a Pac-Man clone. It's okay. It's better than Atari's Pac-Man, but it's not as good as Ms. Pac-Man, so, or even Junior Pac-Man, so, you know. Oh, look, another space shooting game, Space Attack. We got Super Challenge Baseball, not the best baseball game on the system. Super Challenge Football, which plays a lot like the NFL football game. This plays a lot like the Major League Baseball game, by the way, too. So they look better than the original baseball and football games. I think Real Sports Football might be better than this one. The baseball game, I'll show you what is the best baseball game in my next collection video, by the way. And then Tron Deadly Disc. So it's nice to see that INTV Corp still had the Tron license, too. So, and that's a very, very fun game. Doesn't matter for Intellivision or Atari. I think both versions are equally as fun. Finally, we come to Coleco, which I only have 7 games published by Coleco. But what's funny about Coleco is they had their ColecoVision in 1982. They came out with a module that could play Atari games on the ColecoVision. You'll never see anything like that in today's video game market. But they also had licenses from both Sega and Nintendo at the same time. So before Sega and Nintendo became mortal enemies during the 16-bit era, they were both in the same boat as being licensees of Coleco. So that's just kind of funny. And they'll illustrate with the first 2 games. Carnival, which is a fun game. I like the ColecoVision version better. I've never played the original arcade version, but it's nice to see these old Sega arcade games before, you know, they had the Master System and the Genesis. Now here's one that was just a bona fide classic in the arcades, of course. The Atari version, not so much. Donkey Kong. Now the ColecoVision version that they put out, you know, for their own system was fantastic. They did not put their best developers on this, of course. Maybe it was to try to convince people that the Atari was inferior and to go buy a ColecoVision. I don't know. I bet it worked for some people, because, yeah, the Atari version of Donkey Kong is just crap. And hell, the Intellivision version of Donkey Kong is equally as bad. They changed him to green in Intellivision, so at least he's still brown here. Now, Donkey Kong Jr. isn't as bad. I think it's actually pretty good. They got 3 of the 4 labels. They got 3 of the 4 levels on this game. By the way, this label is just immaculate. I'm telling you what. But, you know, of course the ColecoVision version is still better. Of course the NES version is much better. Both of these games I'd rather play the arcade versions, or Donkey Kong, the Game Boy version, even though that's really a completely different game. Here's an old Taito arcade game, Frontline. It's okay. I pop this in, I get bored pretty early with this game. Run and gun shooter, or more like a walk and gun shooter, but eh. Now here's one they did right. Mousetrap, another Pac-Man clone. They did this right on the on the Atari. They did it right on the ColecoVision as well. Now, there might be a reason why they did it right. See, Coleco not only put out that expansion module, but they put out what they called the Coleco Gemini. And all the Gemini was an Atari 2600 clone. So all it did was play Atari 2600 games. And when they sold them, these mousetraps originally came with it. I've seen Donkey Kongs that had the sticker as well. So whoever got the Geminis with Donkey Kong, I feel sad for them. Mousetrap, they got a better deal. A rare game that was a Coleco original, Smurf Rescuing Gargamel's Castle. Now, the ColecoVision version looks better, but I think both games are actually equally as good to each other. And then finally, a game that was much better on the ColecoVision and in the arcades than on the Atari 2600, but I had to get it just because it has one of the best fonts in video game history as far as the lettering, Zaxxon. This label's not the best. I need to get a better label, but Zaxxon, it's not bad. At least the original game's not. This version leaves a lot to be desired. But I can play the arcade version on my Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection on the 360, so no biggie there. So anyways, those are my Imagic, Mattel, and Coleco games on the Atari 2600. Next collection is going to have everything else. It's going to prominently feature Parker Brothers and 20th Century Fox, I think are the two biggest collections I have left. But I'm going to show everything else that I have left in my next video, at least for the 2600. I'll have another video for the 7800 after that. So I am the Atari Junkie. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, folks, take care.